Greetings YouTube. Today I'm going to review two short role-playing products. The first is Pathfinder's Chronicles, Gods and Magic. Oh, yeah. A shout out to Sardis wearing my martial law t-shirt. He did a review of it the other day. I thought he'd be interested in the event he sees this. Okay, back to Gods and Magic. This is a very slim product, not overly large. I picked it up for sale at a couple weeks ago. And it's what it says on the tin, folks. This is a supplement that deals with the gods and the related magic of those gods, magic items and spells. This was put out before the release of the final Pathfinder book because it actually has magic items requiring XP in it. So this is a little bit before that was published, but it's all still completely usable. Each god in this gets a main god. There's some minor gods. Each main god gets 2-page spread. Gives them a full description of their history, priests, temples, and churches. How they handle different things, like holidays and ceremonies, things like that. And there's a spell that goes with it. Today I'll be talking about one that I found particularly interesting. Pharasma, who is a goddess known as the Lady of Graves, goddess of fate, death, prophecy, and birth. Neutral alignment, domains of death, healing, knowledge, repose, and water. Favored weapon, dagger. Then it gives their nationalities and cities, where it doesn't really matter if you don't have the Pathfinder game or the setting. The spell in question here is known as Defending Bone. It's a 2nd level spell, necromancy. 1 standard action, range personal, target you, duration 1 hour per level or until discharged. You animate a bone with necromantic energy, giving it the power to float near your body and interpose itself against physical attacks. This gives you damage reduction 5/bludgeoning. Once the bone has prevented a total of 5 points of damage per caster level, maximum 50 points, is destroyed and the spell is discharged. This spell has no effect if you have damage reduction from another source. Well, that's kind of a cool concept. Now, you're a necromancer. You got this little bone floating next to you. Kind of like Ioun Stone concept. It's dodging around, getting in the way of blows. I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. And the art here is just really nice. That's a good picture. Very pleasant, very lush. All of the illustrations in this are excellent. And they do that for all the different gods in the Galarian setting. And then they also have a smaller section of gods which are less important, some of the non-human gods. And they just get like a little paragraph or two with a little picture on top. Like that's what their holy symbol is, kind of thing. It was still very useful. And then in chapter 2, they talk about magic items. Some big, powerful magic items, like no, actually chapter 3, sorry. Powerful magic items like artifacts, and then some less powerful ones. For example, the bronze dagger of Erastil says, which is... Okay, as long as you carry the dagger, you manage to find enough food and water in the wilderness to satisfy your hunger and thirst. So you may give this food to others, in case you want to. You also get a +1 resist bonus to fortified saving throws. If you are a priest of Erastil, once per day you may speak a command word to use True Strike. Once per day you may speak a command word to give a touched, thrown weapon, arrow, or bolt the return property, weapon property for 1 minute. A magic arrow or bolt that returns does not keep the magic properties, but is still usable. Now, each of the magic items is like this, having a generic power and then one specific to the priesthood if you are a priest of that or a priestess of that god. I like this. It gives it versatility. It means pretty much anybody can use the item, but if they are your patron god, it's more useful to you. So I definitely approve of this product. I think it's not only useful for the Galarian setting itself, but I think it's a nice template if a GM wants to come up with their own gods in question. Now, the second product I want to talk about is Kobold Quarterly. Now, I was rather distraught when Dragon and Dungeon went out of publication. And yes, before anyone tells me, I am aware that Wizards of the Coast is still producing issues of Dragon and Dungeon. But you see, magazines are printed on paper, and they are mailed to your home or available on a newsstand. They are not digital-only items, in my opinion. So, I'm a grognard. Shoot me. I had never had a chance to take a look at Kobold Quarterly. I found a copy cheap on Free Comic Book Day, actually, rather strangely. And so I thought I'd give it a shot and check it out. It's a nice selection of articles in here. For example, the Uvindur, the Pride of Craftsmen, which is a re-looking at dwarves, casting them in a little more Scandinavian craftsman-style role. And they're asexual. There's only a set number, and as they die over time, it means their race is slowly dying out. It had slightly different abilities as far as mechanics are concerned, but it was a nice way of looking at a standard race in a new light. I think that was rather successful. Howling Werebeasts, which was a short article about were-rats, werewolves, and werebears, and how to play them in 3.5 or Pathfinder. And it's kind of like the Savage Species concept, having different levels. But the shape change ability does not kick in until fairly late in their career, and I think that's a liability. If you can't shape change into something at first level, you're not a werebeast. Ecology of the Vampire, pretty much straightforward. Then we had some information about how to cast, about the wish spell and how it can be used and abused. Torture and Fear on the tabletop, just how to use torture in your game. Same rules, different treasure. Very nice article using standard treasure types like a rod or a ring, and then giving different versions. For example, biotechnology. Instead of a ring, it's a small insect that wraps around your finger, or an organic creature that snaps onto your arm instead of a bracer. Just a different way of looking at standard items. I thought that was kind of nice. Monstrous Paragon, some information about Paragon classes for monsters. And an article about the Spellless Ranger, which I am always approve of. I like Spellless Rangers. I prefer them. I don't like Rangers with spells. I never have. So, overall, good magazine. I prefer the 3.5 in Pathfinder information. I freely admit this. It's got 4E information here, which is your thing. That's another reason that I'm not really interested in Dragon and Dungeon anymore, because 4th edition is not a system that I have any interest in. So I think that both of these products are useful to gamers who are into the Pathfinder and 3.5 system.